called bloodline or lineage in your own background, and that's what I found out. And sure enough, I had somebody in the organization, another one that I was a client of, who said to me, asked me point blank and said, do you have some kind of letters in your family? And letters patent. And I said, well, yes. This was October of 2014. And they said, well, they took your son to do with these letters. And at the time, I want to stress, I did not understand what that means. All I could, at the time, in my, closed mind of what he was really trying to say, all I could think was, well, I don't have those letters. That's silly. Like, why would they take him to do with that? I just didn't ask the right question at the time because I didn't know that I didn't know to ask the right question.
Well, you didn't know really what they were really taught, but they thought you might have known. But why didn't you explain it? A letters patent. What does it mean?
Letters patent is something that is handed down. It means that you come from a certain lineage that you were someone in your family or that line of family were entitled in nobility in maybe a royalty of some sort, whether it be king, queen, countess, nobility, baron, whatever it was. It means that you're entitled, and there's some kind of heritage there. And sure enough, it was something I'd known since I was a little girl. I was educated. I was made to know that I was from the House of Bourbon and the House of Orleans, that I was a direct descendant from the last king of France. So I was made to know that since I was literally, 4 or 5 years old. And so something even my sister does remember. We've talked before. And so that's something even our whole family knew. So that my grandmother was somebody who was entitled, that she was the one that was, that the letters patent were given to her mother, and they came literally from Europe when they came, over to the U.S. And some of the other family went to Belgium, and some of the others went to South Africa at the time of Napoleon. So again, this goes down to lineage lines. There's another house I was just told about another part of the family that has letters patent on the ring side of the family that I'm related to. And that means we're from the House of Hanover, which is connected to the British family, and to the House of Monaco. So those are things that line I was not aware of until recently. So what they'll do is track people. They can do it through a hospital, I just learned. I was just in a debriefing this week, and they discussed that they can, they'll track the family. My grandmother, there was a book on her family, the federal government has. My son right now is listed as a high value asset. Don't know who put him there or why, but that's a fact. So
okay, so when you say that Jonah, your son, that was internationally trafficked, ended up in Australia, is listed as a high level asset.
Yeah, HBA is what they call it.
HBA. HBA. Yes. So, and do you have now a definition of what that means?
Well, I know I was told it means high value asset. And what the thing that's interesting is that my son left on fraudulent, deported illegally as if he wasn't a U.S. citizen. He left on fraudulent passport papers that literally said he wasn't even a U.S. citizen. So I have those papers. So I know I have papers at the State Department, a good side of the State Department that was helping me, said, yeah, this is now international kidnapping. Stop calling this legal kidnapping. So he was put, but somebody that was also the CIA working in the State Department on another side called Children's Matters, somehow somebody out of John Kerry's office, when he was a former Secretary of State under Obama in 2013, they listed him as that. I'm looking for help to find out why, other than the lineage I just told you, but who was he an interest to is the real question. Who did he get sold to in the black market adoption? I know that they'll put him somewhere in the bloodline, I found out. That's where he would get adopted to, and he would become something called a hierarchy child. So those are, I now understand that much of what I'm dealing with and what kind of trafficking this is. There's different levels of trafficking.
So in other words, some royal family in Europe, or it could be Monaco. It has to be somewhere in your lineage here. Has your son?
It's definitely something in the lineage. I mean, he could be. They told me too. He could be, used as a doppelganger, a decoy, or something with the CIA program. Through, if he has any, they look for spiritual giftings of the child. So if there's any of that running in the family, and yes, there was that. He definitely had a very high IQ. They look for that.
That's right.
He was somebody who definitely had unique gifts to see things. So that's one of the reasons they said they would have taken him, and that runs in the family. So from my grandmother, from my mother's side, and then I found out my father's side has some their Sinclairs on that side, which I was not aware of that. I finally had people come forward that said, they were Sinclair Oil, they were half partners. So they are looking for children with a lot of different connected lineage lines that are powerful.
Tammy, it's also not just his gifts of intuition and there's a lot of stuff going on out there. A lot of people who, like us, do research because we try to find God, why did you do this to us? And you start seeking God. And he seems to answer when you ask him. This is, it's divine intervention, but I'm looking at St. Clair Oil. Everybody from royal bloodlines have land. They have property they're owed to. It's like karma. You've got to give it back. Got to keep it there. They don't want karma. And it's got to do with these gifts. But these gifts are only given to God's children.
Interesting.
Not evil. Evil does not have this gift. But do you know that those that born with the gift of artistic ability, they can visually see what they're about to create? That's manifesting because you actually see it in your vision. You can actually astral travel. These are gifts that are given because we're connected directly to God. It's almost like called a light worker. They don't see things. They're not easily convinced by lies. We see through truth. We can sense people when they're telling lies. We can finish a person's sentence. We have this strong ability of knowledge we just know without knowing why we know. We just happen to know. High IQ in school. We get it really fast. I don't know, but they're scared of people like that. The evil people, the ones that are like the queen and the royals that are running the show now, the evil people, the Queen of England, who literally runs everything, the big witch, the pedophile queen. I mean, they've been after her too. She went into hiding or something like that. I don't know, but I mean, she's a pedophile. The whole entire family. They fear people with gifts.
Yeah.
And that's why they need to, especially those that are born with it strong, they need to break them down. They need to control them. Otherwise, they will be the ones that God sent to take them down. It's literally the only thing I can come up with at this point, because, I mean, this is not something I'm just coming up with off the top of my head. I've done enough research. Yeah. You've done enough research. You've had a team. I've had a team. People in 2 countries. People now all over the world, all doing research together, and these drops to even get no more. But in the bottom line, if you've got this gift, you've got this gift, and this gift comes from the Creator. And these people are so evil. They're literally satanic, Luciferian, Jesuit, 33 Masons. It's like the hand, the 5, extensions of the fingers. They're all together, but they've got one hand. I was just listening to a video, of course, and I really did grasp everything and understand it. They need to control. That's why my sons, too, they were able to do things way earlier than most, and they got indoctrined into this Illuminati. And that's what they do.
Well, if I may interject again, speaking of that organization or whatever they are, speaking of that, which so again, I'm really, I'm saying, hey, I'm really, I got my hand waving up in the air saying, any help on this would be really helpful to to go down. Obviously, these are serious rabbit holes here. But speaking of that organization, I got my own letters, different from letters patent, in the year of 2007, before I had my son, and it was from, I found out later, from the Illuminati. They were Air France envelopes. My father got his first one January 2017. My mom got letters when I was born, also, so different than any of her sisters or relatives. So there's something going on, and they let you know, we're watching you, we've chosen you, just some really eerie things. You're going to meet world leaders. We have, and they're pretty, they know specific things about you that it's like, personal things and accomplishments. It's almost like someone stalked you your whole life. It's very eerie, I have to tell you, that they knew what they knew. And so I know that is an entity somehow that's involved. And as crazy as that sounds, it does sound bizarre, but it is a factor that this is part of what happened to us, and I don't have all the answers. I don't know why completely.
Well, they want you to join them. Tammy, you are supposed to join them. You're part of this line. The only way to control your enemy is to keep them closer. So what they do is they drag you in, like these Hollywood stars. They start seducing them with the money and the fame, and then they got locked in, but they don't realize they got to do some really sick stuff to stay in there. You know what I mean? Like blood sacrifices, pedophilia. Even... I don't want to go there because I don't want to scare anybody, but, just look it up. Pizzagate, Pedogate, MK Ultra victims. They literally need to keep them under control, which is your lineage. You got to keep you under control because they fear us. They fear anyone with this bloodline. So they have to get you to join them.
Interesting. Gosh.
So that's the letter. So you can easily, they start telling you, this is how much money you'll make. That's why this Hollywood, Hollygate or Pedo would, it's because you can see these crazy people, how they go from normal kids, these kid singers, to looking like the Wicked Witch. They start acting and flipping out. Their eyes are going up and down. They literally create alter egos because they've gone through this conditioning. But that is what you pay for. You sold your soul to the devil. And there's no way for you to get out of it. Once you're in it, you're in it. They do not let you get free. So that's how they control. By money, they'll blackmail you, and you're in fear because they threaten to kill your family. And so you're forced to have sex with a kid, and they'll videotape it. And then they use it as blackmail for the rest of your political career. So if you don't do what they tell you to do, they axe you. They have an entire community, a world that we don't even have access to. They live in a life that is completely above and beyond what we all here, the sheep on this planet, is living. But that is the only way. And you didn't want to join them, Tammy. Your father ignored. They tried to get you when you were younger. You escaped. They decided to back off a little bit. Maybe somebody else was on a top of priority, but your son ended up they're like, well, we're not going to let this go any further. We need her son.
That makes sense, Tina. Do you remember I was really upset, and I called you. This has been a while ago. This is in March. At the end of March in 2013, I called you. I was in D.C. and I was with my dad, and because I also had a federal filing I was doing there as I was putting in paperwork, working with the State Department. So I had paperwork and evidence to constantly. You remember I was there, I practically was living there. Is what it was. So that's why they have jurisdiction right now too, because I really was living there. But at the time, of going back and forth to Alabama. But I had walked into the federal courthouse and I was doing a filing, and there was the U.S. Marshal's office at this.
Hold on, Tammy. These stupid trucks keep coming by. It's almost like they know what we're doing. Shut up, for Christ's sakes. No more. Quiet. Not a noise. All right, go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, when you walk